Alright, Andrew, I'm going to try and show you how to get into space using the demo parts and get into a stable orbit here. So here we go. I'm going to try and keep this really short, so sorry if I'm talking a little fast. So these are your two basic fuel tanks you should get in the demo mode. You want to use the bigger one, the FLT200. You can just stack probably two of those is fine. You go into engines and you want this one, the LVT30. I think it's the only one you have in the demo, so take that one. I know there's lots of extra parts here, but yeah, it's a little confusing maybe, but just try and ignore them for now. You'll have them soon, I'm sure. So you want to look for a coupling. You have this stack decoupler, and this is a radio decoupler. So a stack decoupler goes in line with any of your tubes. So in this case, we're going to attach to the bottom of the engine. It'll create like a shield for it. So this will be one of your separation points. You want to go back to your fuel tanks and choose the FLT200 again. You want to stack probably 4 of those is good. So you stack 4 of those. 4 is actually a lot, but you probably want the extra fuel. And we go back for one of your engines again, because it's the only one you got, unfortunately. This isn't exactly an efficient design, but it gets the job done. So now what you want to do is you want to go back to your coupling section. You want to choose the radio decoupler. Just for a little bit of overkill, we'll go with tri-symmetry. I don't know how the hell to say it. We'll just call it three symmetry. So you want to click that on there. Sorry for my bad English. So stick that on there like that, and go back to your fuel tanks again. You want to make sure the fuel tanks are center on those decouplers, so you can see like there's a few angles I can attach it at, so make sure it's nice and center like that. And then you know, stack probably 3 is okay. You're gonna have a lot of engine power because of the 3. You want to go into aerodynamics next, and you're gonna want to choose that nose cone. You should have it with the demo mode, and you just snap it on top. Perfect, just like that. Aerodynamics actually does matter quite a bit in this game, so make sure you put nose cones on stuff. And then you have your 3 engines down here. And then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to go into structural, and you're going to want to add a launch stability enhancer. You'll see it in your stock parts. Hopefully it's easier to find because there won't be as many parts. So you click this and you just stick it on there. What this does is this supports your ship off of the ground before you launch it, and you'll see it's down here in your tabs. So this is actually a step in your staging. So now you want to go over your staging. So you want your main engines to fire. In this case, you should have 4 main engines. So 1 in the center and 3 on the sides. So what we do is we put the 4 engines in the first stage. So you drag that one that was up here, and you want to drag it down. Next, you want these decouplers to break off. So you move that up. You're going to want those 3 to fire when those tubes, these side tubes, are empty. So that should be your next stage. And then after that is going to be your final stage, which is decoupling this and firing the engine. So what we can do is move this engine into the same stage. That way this decouples and this fires in the same stage. So the final step here, I want to add one last part, which you should have, I hope. I believe you do. Yes, you do. Is this fuel line. So you want this fuel line, you want to connect it first to the outer tanks and then to the inner tanks. To the inner tank. What this will do is means this center engine will draw fuel from the 3 outer tanks before it'll draw fuel from its own. So this makes it more efficient because you're getting rid of all this extra weight in these extra fuel tanks before switching over to the main tank. So that should be all in the right order now. So now we'll take it out. So it's D to turn with the equator. This will give you a nice horizontal orbit. You want to click T so that you have extra stability. It's computer guidance. Crank up your power holding shift so it's at max. Hit the space bar for your engines. Hit it again for the couplers and start giving it a bit of a lean left. It might rotate a bit, so try and keep it aimed on there using the A, S, and D keys, but it doesn't really matter. Wow, this ship is fast. So keep it moving. Doesn't really matter if you're off. In this case, I'm just going to try and get it into orbit. A ship going this fast is actually kind of hard to get into orbit because it likes to stay in a straight line as opposed to turn. So I'm going to start turning it now. So as you can see, I totally mucked up getting into a horizontal orbit because of how fast the ship was going. So this is going to be a sloped orbit, but that's okay. So I'm still at full power and I'm burning. We're at 35,000 meters. Hit M to check your map. As you can see, our AP is plenty high, so you can hit X to cut the engines. Now what you're going to do is once you get up to this point, what you can do is point your ship horizontally with your flight path. So in this case, move your ship using WASD. Take your time. It's kind of weird to get used to. You want to point it nice and horizontal and make sure it's in line with your current direction. So that's pretty much horizontal. And what you can do is if you click right here, you can warp to a point before your AP. So you want to hit the engines at your AP, but you can warp up to that point so you're a lot closer. Now that our trajectory is pretty much horizontal, we line it up with the horizon and we fire. Now don't go full power because you don't want this happening too quickly. So you have your fuel, you have your engine on, it's firing. As you can see, our path is changing because our engines are still on. And you just watch your map, give it some time. If you find it's taking too long, you can turn up the engine power a bit. So our one engine's about to run out of fuel in this section, so we separate and fire the second engine. We're a lot faster now because of the power to weight ratio. So I'll back off the engines again. So you can see our path is changing, it's getting bigger, it's getting bigger. Kind of worried about how much fuel we have here. I don't know, we have plenty, so we're fine. Just try and keep it on the horizon. And you want to make sure when you're burning, right, that your PE is above 70,000. That is your lowest point in your orbit. So if your PE is below 70,000, you'll scrape along the atmosphere and your ship will start to slow down. So there you go. You're now in orbit effectively, and yeah, you can EVA or leave your ship by clicking this EVA button. Here's a little astronaut. If you hit R, or if you hit space, you'll let go of the spaceship. If you hit R, you can fly a little jetpack around. Shift to go up, Control to go down, WASD to move forward, back, left, and right. And to get back into your spaceship, move up to it. Try and be near the ladder and hit F to grab, and B to board. There you go. Hope this helps you.